Data is the new oil. We've heard about that. And, for a moment, it was very interesting to hear this comparison because it showed the shift from thinking about data as who knows what to thinking about data as something that has value. But data isn't quite like oil. And you make it quite a point in your book about marking these differences. What are they? Why is data different and why, I would say, better?
Here's what makes data so powerful. Data never wears out, data never depletes, and if curated right, the same data set can be used across an unlimited number of use cases at a marginal cost equal to zero. There are no other assets like that. I mean, oil wears out, depletes, you can't use these things over. And so this very unique economic characteristic of data is very powerful. If you, though, curate and put your data in a way that's easily shareable and reusable. Again, if you can do that, it has almost unlimited value. Right? It's almost a better analogy is data is not the new oil, data is the new sun. Right? It's continuously giving you more and more. It doesn't cost you anything more. But in order to benefit from the data is the new oil. And by the way, before I get the frame, that statement, by the way, was a very powerful statement. And I don't know if somebody made it really thoughtfully think about it or if it was just a throwaway statement, but the idea behind data is the new oil is very powerful because what it conveys is that in the same way that oil was the fuel that drove the economic growth in the 20th century, data will be the catalyst that drives the economic growth in the 21st century. And we're already seeing a shift. If you look at, in the US, the top 5 companies from a market capitalization perspective, 20 years ago, they were Exxon, they were Chevron, they were Schlumberger, they were all the oil companies. You look today, who are the top market cap companies? They're Google or Alphabet, they're Facebook, they're Amazon, they're Apple, they're all data companies, right? The shift is already taking place right in front of us. But many people don't seem to think and understand that shift. And so it's part of what I think my mission is to go out there and make sure organizations realize this shift is not gonna happen, but is already happening at leading organizations who are moving away from this asset that depletes and wears out and depreciates to an asset that not only doesn't deplete, but in some cases the asset value can appreciate the more you use it. I mean, it's mind numbing. It's a game-changing perspective if organizations can embrace it. And the game's being played out right in front of us, and most companies don't even realize it.
Absolutely, and I love the comparison with solar power because it's exactly like that. One of the problems with oil is it's unsustainable, while data, it's completely the opposite. It doesn't wear out, just as you said.
Yeah, it's cleaner, right? It's got all kinds of things that, a job as a data scientist is probably going to be a much more enjoyable life than as a roughneck working on an oil rig. But it's that economic play that's a differentiator. It's the fact that the data has this very unique economic characteristics. It can be used across an infinite number of use cases if you architect it and share it, right? If you have data silos, kills it, right? Data silos kills the economic multiplier effect that data can do. But you also can build analytics using AI and ML and reinforcement learning. You can build these analytic assets that the more they're used, the smarter they get. But they have to be engineered in a way for shareable and reusability and continuous learning and adapting. You can't build one-off ML models, what I call orphaned analytics, because that's another great destroyer of economic value. So what happens is if organizations at the senior level, the CEO and that level believes that data is the catalyst for growth, then the what data scientists and IT organization need to do is they need to tack their jobs differently. They can't allow data silos to exist. They got to curate data and facilitate the sharing and reuse of that data. And they've got to build these analytic models, these analytic assets as reusable, continuous learning and adapting assets. That's a different way to think about it. Otherwise, you have the CEO who believes that data is the new oil, as the source of economic growth, and you have the data science and the IT team just doing the same old crap. And that's not going to work.
Absolutely.